Hello and welcome to today's Facebook and LinkedIn Live. It's a really special one today because we are talking on International Women's Day, and I am chatting with Esther McMorris, and she is the CEO of a management consultancy firm called 9 Feet Tall. I'm going to be talking all around how companies can overcome the barriers to women in the workplace and improve and embrace equity, which is obviously this year's International Women's Day theme. So thank you so much, Esther, for joining us today. Thank you for everyone that's going to be watching this live or on the replay. And the replay, as always, will be available on the website as people are logging on. Do let us know if you can hear us all okay. Give us a like or an emoji. That would be fab. But thank you so much, Esther, for joining us today. It's an absolute pleasure to chat with you and obviously talk about this really important topic about how people can embrace equity to encourage more women to thrive and reach those leadership roles at work.
Yeah, and likewise, a pleasure meeting you as well. So it's a topic close to our heart.
Yes, absolutely. So if somebody's watching this and they've never heard of 9 Feet Tall, it's a great name, by the way. Could you give us a bit of a background about 9 Feet Tall and how you started and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So 9 Feet Tall, we are a change management consultancy, and we specialize in delivering large, complex and gritty projects. My background was in technology. So I started off in technology programs and delivering large IT implementations for different organizations, and really develop that passion for change. So how do you get it kind of from something that's a real mess into something that's working really well? And within that, I find that often in these types of programs, technology works. It's all the other things. It's the people, the behaviors, the culture, the leadership. That's what really makes a difference. So when I set up 9 Feet Tall, it was all about that. So how do you get these large, complex change programs to work? And how can you take the kind of anxiety and fear and mess out of it and actually make it a really enjoyable journey? Because delivering change can be really good fun, and also it's a good CV builder for not just our team but also for the people who we're working with. So for our clients, it's a really great journey to be on as well.
Absolutely.
There's some amazing people we meet, and within our journey we're really keen to build capability and maximize people's talents. There's so much talent out there, and there's so many organizations that will say, oh, computer says no, or we've tried that before. And actually, if you can take people along the journey with you, it's a really enjoyable experience. So I set up 9 Feet Tall about 18 years ago.
Had you always wanted to be an entrepreneur? Was that something that had been in it? Okay.
No, I haven't. I probably, I guess I got at a stage of my career that I could either join one of the large consultancies or I could go permanent. And there was something in me that was going, actually, I don't really like some of the culture and the ethos of some of those larger consultancies, which, certainly at the time was all about making money, putting in the hours. And for me, it kind of lacked that purpose, because ultimately I really like delivering change, and even our current strapline is deliver change for good. So how can you do it to make a difference, as opposed to how can you do it just to be busy and churn? So I was probably more stubborn and said, I can't find what I want, so I might as well set for myself. And so that's how it started, really.
Wow. And what was your early days like then as a female entrepreneur?
Early days, we were quite a small team. I think within change and these types of programs, if you're good, you can't, or you're good sounds very arrogant, but if you can deliver change through stealth and through demonstrating success, so I think you can be very, very successful. And I think probably one of the hardest challenges is in consultancy. It's always around attracting talent. So how do you make sure that you get the right team with you? And that's not just the skills. So yes, people have project management skills or change skills, and they've been on a course and you go tick, but it's not that. It's really the kind of the cultural fit and the ambition and really working in true partnership. So for us, it's really that softer side that's really important. And even now, kind of 15, 20 years in, that's still when we do recruitment and we look at, who's going to be part of our 9 Feet Tall team. That's a really important part, is that softer skills, the kind of cultural alignment side of things.
Yeah, so that was obviously a conscious thing. So when you were sort of launching the business, started to grow it, started to attract people, what was at the back of your mind in how to create a culture where, you would enjoy working and other people would enjoy working?
Yeah, I'm originally Dutch, so that's kind of sometimes that helps. And the Dutch are quite direct and straight, and you say it as it is, and you're open. And so I've always kind of tried to foster that. So there's immediate direct feedback. You know where you stand. There's no dressing things up. I remember actually when I moved from Holland to England, one of my friends says, in England you should never listen to the sentence after the word but. So if people go, oh, I really like your top and I really like your hair, but, and so it's a but bit that's after the but is where the important stuff comes. Anything before the but is just polite. And so I think within 9 Feet Tall, I think it is being open, it's being transparent, having a bit of fun, and really taking accountability. So I think we want to deliver change for our clients. So, you give people the tools and you support them, but you cut them loose and let them deliver.
Yeah. So consulting's obviously been historically male-led. I've worked in consulting and I, can attest to that. What do you think are the workplace barriers that prevent women from reaching senior roles, particularly in consulting?
I do think some of it has moved on, but I think certainly historically, in particular, some of the kind of larger firms, it's very macho. So it was all about, you leave on a Sunday night, you go and stay in a hotel, you compare how many Hilton reward points you got, you don't go home until the last person goes home. So there was very much a culture of, you put in the long hours and that was often the done thing. I think also with consultancy, I think the difference is to other industries, it's quite unpredictable. So when you're an employee, you're a consultant, you don't always know where you're going to be, what project you're going to work on. When your project finishes, you might be pitching for a piece in York and one in Exeter and one in London and maybe one abroad. And with really short notice, you're kind of told, okay, well, actually, Elizabeth, you're going to go on this project, or Esther, you'll be working on that project. And so I think there is that's always been tricky. However, I think you can break through that presenteeism, and what we've tried to do, and what's really helped is, instead of it being kind of a person that our clients buy to say, okay, well, we want one person to do as much work as they can, is more looking at the outcome and solutions, to saying, okay, well, you want a project delivered. Well, actually, on that basis, what we can give you is a little project team, which then means I can be much more flexible with my team members. I can get blended skills. So you could have someone who's got good analytical skills with someone who's perhaps got more softer communication skills. And it means you can flex up and flex down without burning out your team. So that kind of solutions focus, I think has really helped. I do also think that for all the bad in COVID, I think for a consultancy firm, it actually has been really positive. So we've definitely had clients who, I know we had one client who mandated that on a Friday afternoon, we were in Birmingham for the wrap-up meeting. And, you could have done it remotely, but, I think at the time clients were asking that. And I think
there was the expectation, wasn't it, that people went in?
Massively and really rapidly. I think that has shifted, so people can work remotely, and clearly, your Teams and Zooms have all made that much easier as well. But I think the expectation from clients has definitely changed. But even prior to COVID, I think as 9 Feet Tall, we would always promote that as well, because people have other commitments. And I'm a hockey player myself, so I like to go for Wednesday night hockey training, and I coach little ones. And so actually, if someone says, can you be away Wednesday night? No, I can't. And if you know that, and you can get the team to manage their diaries, and equally, that's for women and men alike.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got, lots of team members who've got kids or families or dogs or hobbies, and it's trying to accommodate that alongside work.
It's quite difficult. So do you have somebody then that manages all that to, so a lot of diary management, because there's obviously a lot of diaries then to manage?
We do. However, our best way of doing it is getting the people to do themselves. So So our team members have got full autonomy over their diary. So they'll be assigned to a project. They know what they need to deliver. They're working in a project team environment, so they can draw up on each other's. So they'll do their own planning, and they'll go, "Well, I can't do Tuesday, but can you do Tuesday?" or whatever it might be. And so they'll have their own patterns. And we have within the team, we have, we've got all sorts of patterns. So we've got some people are part-time. We've got flexible working, where someone perhaps might not work in August because they've got the kids for the entire school holiday. We've got some people doing 9 out of 10 days, some people 3 out of 5, whatever it might be. So I think everyone knows what their own commitments are and where they need to be from a personal perspective. And so I think it's empowering the team to manage it is much easier, because otherwise you need a team of 10 to work out who's where.
I remember when you posted the advert, and I loved it, when I first started working with you, because it said, you can do part-time, term time. And that is such a positive for a lot of people, even if they don't have kids, but to know they've got that summer. I mean, maybe they're married to a teacher or something like that, and they've got that freedom, to enjoy the summer. And
and I think as an employer, you also get real commitment in return. So actually, if someone has August off or someone's had a break, then they come back and they're super refreshed and they're super motivated. They're loyal, retention's good. So it goes both ways as well. So I think if you give a little, you get a lot back.
Absolutely. Thank you, Anchor, for watching. What company do you think culture shifts make the most difference to women at work and achieving their full potential?
Cultural differences. Okay. So I think there's something around empowerment. So giving people the tools and the freedom to do it. I think for me, probably the biggest bit is trust. And it was funny, it was the other day, and I had a school commitment and school kind of sports day thing. And there's lots of parents there going, "Oh yeah, well, I told my boss I had a meeting and I'm going to," so there was lots of pretending. Whereas actually at 9 feet tall, you would just say, at school sports day, back at 11, is that all right? Because we know people will make their time up. And so just being transparent and just saying, actually, I have other commitments, or, today isn't so good, but I'll make up my hours, or however you want to do it. I think for me, that really is the biggest bit. And I think certainly even with our clients as well, we often find there's like a little bit of friction, or, "Oh, really? Is that what you do?" And you go, "Yes." So people do have other lives.
But that gives them permission to say, "Do you know, I can't make that meeting because I'm going to the gym. I've got something else actually." And I like that. I've got somebody that works with me, and she'll tell me, I'll ring her, I can't talk now because I'm going to the gym. And I'm like, that is fine. Actually, I'm thinking now maybe I should go for a walk or do some exercise. We'll give me when you've come back. But it's really funny what you said, because my husband won't watch this. I can say, we've got our daughter's got an assembly next week, and it's just a year, every year. So it's only once a year. So I'm like, we need to both go because she's practicing her lines. And he's like, "Oh, I'm going to have to say, got a doctor's appointment."
And people do.
And I'm like, well, that's a real shame. You're gonna have to say that, and that puts that whole relationship. It's like you're a child then having to sneak about and
exactly. And I think that's it. And you kind of go, just be honest. And I think the team work. They put their hours in, and sometimes they work late, and sometimes they might pick their kids up at 4 o'clock, but then they put an hour in the evening. It doesn't really matter, does it? The work gets done, and everyone's happy. But I think it's that transparency. The other thing we do, and we have done, everyone's diaries are open, so anyone can diary stalk anyone. And if you go in there, it will actually say things. And one of our kind of head of delivery, he's a keen cyclist, and he'll have cycle breaks in his diary at lunchtime. And you kind of go, "Well, why not?" Exactly. And he'll come back and he's refreshed, and everyone knows you can't phone Dave between 12 and 1 because he's on his bike. And
a bit dangerous to phone him then. But I like that, because that to me then gives everybody permission to be quite, like you said, open and honest. And people do, they'll make up the time if they need to make up that time. And
absolutely. And I think we're probably on the other side, that we are managing kind of going stop working team, so we're never, there's no one who doesn't put the effort in. There's more the other side, that people sometimes then go over the top because they feel they have to make up for it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone said a cycling break is great. I think so as well, definitely. So in your opinion, what, if anybody's watching this and is working for a company and thinks, what can we do maybe that will attract and retain more female talent in our organization? What's been the best things that you've done and that you've seen maybe your clients do?
Oh, well, I think at 9 feet we're lucky we have lots of women in the workplace.
Yeah.
And so that does really help, because you can talk to any of the team and they go, oh, actually, whilst I've been at 9 feet, I've had 3 kids and I'm still working. And so, so we've got some really good success stories. But I think for me, the key things are, some of it is around kind of policies and what you can offer. So it is things like flexible working, part-time working, sabbaticals, giving people ownership over their time, looking at, it's even like day patterns. So we got some people who finish at 2, so you could do shorter days, and actually as long as the work gets done. So I think it's really understanding what's important to the individual and what could work. And because also you want the people to be their best at work. So you kind of want to catch them at the time that they're really ready and really contributing. So I think there's lots you can do around that. For me, the other thing is around training and development.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you make sure people have the right skills? And so we've had quite a few mums who've had kids and they've returned from work. How do you make sure that when they come in, because actually they're still as intelligent as they were before, but how do you make sure that their skills are up to date? And for example, Teams is a good example that actually that's really come on. And so it doesn't take long to get someone there, but it's making them comfortable with the right tools. If there's any, I don't know, latest development, we're doing a lot of work in Agile, you make sure that they're trained up. I think for me, the other thing, and that's not just for women, but I think the other thing is, it's kind of where we started, there's skills to do the job. There's also confidence. So in particular in consultancy, you're always on shows. So you're always, the client will go, oh, what do you think, Esther? How about that? So you've got to have that inner confidence. And so we've actually got a company they're called Vox Coaching.
All right, yeah. I was going to ask you what you thought about coaching. Yeah, you brought it up.
And the chaps that run it, they're actors. So their view is, it's not about, well, it is about content as well, but what they train is, it's not about content, but it's how do you deliver it, and how do you conduct yourself in, on a Teams meeting, or how do you, and so actually building those skills. And that's both for our kind of, we've got a 9 Start program, which is where we attract people kind of who just starting their career, but also people who are returning. Is we are finding that that's really good. And it's things like, how do you deal with conflict, and how do you, so it's equipping people with the bits that are a bit awkward, or kind of the bits that you kind of, do I really want to do that today? So if we can give them some support with those things, that would really help as well.
Absolutely. Someone said here on LinkedIn, barriers to progression are often internal, as we see with the confidence gap. So women will often only apply for a role if they meet all of the criteria versus 60% for men. How can we get better at work confidence?
Well, there you go, by doing that. And I think it's also, it's continually supporting. So at 9 Feet All, we have, there's kind of line, there's kind of practical, who signs your holiday off type stuff, but there's also kind of mentoring, and mentoring is about career conversations. And so we'll have in there say, well, actually, what is it you're going to do, and what are the skills that you want to develop, and whether that's external training. Things like shadowing are really good. So getting people along to another meeting that someone else is facilitating, perhaps. So there's lots of ways that aren't just standard training where you can get on it. I'm a great believer, I can't remember who posted that question. I'm a great believer that you can teach people skills, and it's the kind of personality and the ambition. And that's what we really recruit for at 9 Feet All. So if you kind of got the ambition and the cultural fit, then skills can be added on.
I love that. Do you know, I'm talking about this confidence thing. So I interviewed somebody for my podcast. I've got a podcast. Obviously interviewed Tiggy, who was brilliant. Yeah. So you can check out Tiggy's podcast. I think that was just released a couple of weeks ago. There was another lady as well, who's now the COO of an asset management firm, and she had a real wobble. She's got 4 children, and she had quite a wobble I think when she'd had her third or fourth child, and she'd got offered a promotion, and the company, and she was sort of umming and ahhing whether she could take it. I think she had 4 kids. She was like, and they invested in coaching for her. They said, look, we'll really want you to, you're the best candidate for the job. We'll pay for you to have all this coaching. You can work flexibly. I'll take on, her boss said, I'll take on extra work, whilst you get up to speed. And she sort of said that coaching was the best investment that company made for her, because it really helped her get that confidence back, line her life. She invested, then our coach was like, you need to invest in a cleaner, you need to do this, that, the other, and at that point she felt ready then to do the role. So that was
to do that. And it ties in completely with this equity bit, doesn't it? Because actually coaching is brilliant because it is kind of supporting individuals in the gaps that they have or that they perceive they have, and you don't always know it. So I think if you can give that tailored support to say, actually, what do you need to get you onto the next ladder, or to build your confidence, or to lead bigger projects, and so I think it's a very good way of doing it.
That's a really good point. Yes. So actually that leads beautifully onto the next point, which is about obviously today. So International Women's Day focuses on embracing equity this year. So the equity recognizes that each person has different circumstances and allocates the exact resources and opportunities that they need. So what do you think, is there any strategies that 9 Feet Tall have for improving equity, and are any other examples you can give on how companies can improve equity?
Yeah, so we have within our organization, we've got an ED&I team who look after things, so they continually kind of get ideas on what can we do. So we probably got a few good examples. So when we onboard people or we take new people on, we really go kind of the extra yard to understand what is it that they need, and kind of is there extra support if they're, I don't know, if they got issues with dyslexia or spelling. Actually, there's tools like Grammarly that can help you out.
Grammarly is good.
And so, or if you've got, I don't know, if you got particular challenges or find things different. So we try to really look at individuals and say, how do we get the best out of you? How do we make you happy at work? So ultimately, we get the return ourselves as well. I think the key thing with that is not to do it just onboarding, because people's needs change. So depending on what happens in their personal life or in their work life. So I think it's to continually assess that, to say, what's the other support, what would make you 10% better, or what's the things that make you 10% happier. So it's continually doing that. The one thing I really like that my teams do when they deliver projects, they run what they call, it's called a retrospective, and it's part of an agile process. But basically what that is, the team come together every fortnight and they go, okay, what's working and what's not working. But it's really super pragmatic. So I was on one the other day and one of my colleagues was going, look, could we just stop doing meetings after 4 o'clock, because I'm really tired at 4. And everyone's going, yeah, that's good. And so they're really practical. So the teams that work together, they work out how they like to work, and they go, oh, actually, it's really good to have one day a week that we're face to face. Could we stop doing the emails? I don't really. So it's all that kind of ways of working, but taking an hour to evaluate that, and they've got like a little dashboard where they say what's working, what's not working, what they're going to do differently, is a really nice way of doing it, and yeah, and people feel they got a voice to say it as well. So instead of going, oh God, not another email from Esther, they can say, look, Esther, you're sending too many emails. And so having that and having, it's kind of live feedback, and we often also do Feedback Friday, where you got an opportunity just to say what's working and what's not, and give people constructive feedback, and they're really happy about it. So it doesn't make it awkward to say,
I was going to say, they feel really empowered to, because obviously you're their manager, to say, no, I don't like you sending all these emails. But, looking back, that's what a lovely team you've got there. It sounds quite like a family in a way, that people can say that.
And to be honest with you, they do this. I do nothing really. So they do all these like retrospective sessions, and I'd kind of occasionally go in. So I think there's something around, equipping people, with the confidence and empowering them to run those things. What a good idea, retrospectives. What a good idea, Feedback Friday. I never thought of that. but they're
Yeah.
doing it and it's working. And so I think there's something there for me that creating that culture and creating that collaboration really does work.
Yeah, brilliant. Oh, so Maggie says she's in international sales. She loves her work, and she says women can also work as well as men, the men in her team. Absolutely,
Exactly.
brilliant,
I think
Maggie.
yeah, no, absolutely. What Maggie's saying is right. There shouldn't be, there shouldn't be barriers. So if people are good to do the job, then absolutely.
Brilliant. So, I don't know if anyone's got any final questions for Esther, please pop them in the comments. Before we wrap up, do you want to tell people a little about the organisation, how they can find out more, and maybe look at some of the roles as well that you tend to recruit for?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think as we start out, so we specialise in delivering change projects. So we're always on the lookout for talented people who've got experience in project management and change, or have a passion for it, and we can support them on that journey. If you check out our website, 9feettall.com, there's a careers page on there as well. So there's a lot of information. I've got Monique, who heads up my resourcing at 9 Feet Tall, and she is delightful and always willing to have a chat. So if you want to find out more, just ping us a message via the website, or have a look at our jobs that we've got open at the moment, and we'd love to hear from you. And are flexible, so we can work around personal life.
And you're obviously based from home. Do people, are you recruiting all over the UK, or do people need to be in a specific location?
So the answer is they could be anywhere. So I am in the office, but we've got a snow day today. So
oh, nice. That's how you wrapped up.
Hence, be quiet, everyone, be quiet. And so we are. Most of the work is fully remote. We have regular team days monthly where we do get the team together, which tend to be, our offices are in Bath, so they tend to be in the southwest, Bath, Bristol, sometimes they're in London. So it's once a month that the team will get together, and then depending on the client and the projects, most of the work is and can be done remotely. Sometimes it's nice when you have a new project or a new team to do face-to-face meetings as well, so to get under the skin of it and to meet people, which then makes the teams meetings thereafter easier as well. So there's options, so there's no need to be in a particular location.
Brilliant. Okay, so it sounds like you're recruiting people across the UK flexibly. So if anyone's watching this and wants a flexible consulting role, I know there's a lady that came through me who absolutely raves about your organisation and absolutely loves working there. So I think you're fantastic, and obviously spoken to Monique as well, and she really enjoys working for you too. So thank you so much for joining me today, Esther, on International Women's Day. We've had a brilliant chat. Thank you for everyone that's watched live and on the replay. And if you've missed any of our conversation and you want to watch it back, the replay will be on my LinkedIn profile and on the Investing in Women website in the next couple of days. So thank you so much, Esther, for your time today.
Thank you.